Let's start by just taking a moment to land here together, land in our bodies, in our space, just noticing the breath, noticing the support of the ground, and checking in with any thoughts, any stories that we're arriving with. And then slowly, as you're ready, I'll invite you to bring in more movement. So if it feels right for you, we can transition to standing. Otherwise, feel free to follow the invitation of your own body and just really take some time to listen. Listen to your body, listen to your breath, follow what feels good. And if there are moments where you feel like you're pushing yourself, then just slow down and bring the attention to the breath. Notice your feet on the ground. Notice the invitation of gravity and the pull upwards, the energy that lifts the body up towards the sky. And then wherever you are, you might explore shaking out the hands and feet, maybe allowing the eyes to close so we can go inward. And you might rub the hands together and then bring the hands to the low back, feeling the central part of the body, checking in with the pelvis, the low back, the low belly, the hips. Feeling the spine. Noticing the length and the curves of the spine. And then you might shake out your hands and feet again, just letting go of anything extra, anything that we don't need to carry with us anymore. And you might rub the hands together again, and then bring the hands over the eyes, letting go of any extra tension around the eyes, in the face, in the jaw. And then really making this your own, trusting yourself, trusting the wisdom of your body, and just offering touch, movement, awareness, attention from the head down to the feet. And spending extra time anywhere that feels really good, any places that are calling out for touch, exploring the scalp, the ears, maybe tugging on the hair, tending to the face, to the jaw, allowing the jaw to hang. Checking in with the neck and throat, the shoulders, the chest, feeling the sternum and the ribs, and staying with the breath, noticing the movement of breath, exploring the length and the mobility of the arms, the shoulders, the fingers. And we'll spend some extra attention today with the feet. So, seeing if we can feel the feet on the ground, feel the support of the ground up through the feet while tending to the rest of the body. And staying with the breath. Noticing the belly. I'm giggling because my dog's trying to get through the doggy door, which I blocked. Sorry, teeny for one. Feeling the belly, the ribs, the hips, pelvis, all the way down the legs. Exploring the movement in the knees, the ankles, the feet and toes. And then following any last movements, wiggles, opening up the hips. Maybe exploring circles with the pelvis. And then slowly, as you're ready, finding a position to welcome in more stillness. So my invitation is to come to sitting if that feels good for you. You can find your way to a pillow or a chair. And then rocking the hips, rocking the pelvis forward and back. Noticing the connection with the spine and the shoulders and the head. Finding that place where the bones are stacked up so that our head feels light and the belly can soften and relax. And then we might close the eyes or soften the gaze. allowing the body to settle, finding the support of the ground. And then bringing our attention to the breath. Noticing as the breath fills and empties. And feeling all the places that move with the breath. Letting go of any extra effort. Softening the jaw. Letting the shoulders fall back and down. Relaxing the belly. Making any tiny adjustments to allow the breath to move more easily throughout the body. So maybe the chin tips down towards the chest just a tiny bit to lengthen the neck. You might find a tiny smile with the lips relaxing around the eyes. And noticing where the weight falls on the sit bones. And maybe moving the weight just a tiny bit from side to side to find that center where our weight is evenly distributed on the pelvis. Noticing as thoughts arise, and just allowing them to come and go like snowflakes settling to the ground. Noticing the temperature of the air as it enters the nose or mouth, passes through the throat, and fills the body. And then noticing the temperature of the air as it flows out the mouth or nose, emptying. We might imagine the entire body expanding as we breathe in, all the way down to the pelvic floor, through the legs, down to the toes, and then completely letting go as we breathe out. Finding space as we breathe in, and then surrendering as we breathe out, allowing the weight of the body to drop down and find the support of the ground. Allowing the breath to be slow and long. Noticing if this helps the mind to slow down. Maybe we find more space between the thoughts. Noticing the sensuality of breath as it pulses through the body like waves, accentuating the curves of the spine, rising and falling. And seeing if we can enjoy these next few breaths, finding pleasure in the body, pleasure in the stillness and the quiet. Knowing that in just a few moments, we'll welcome in movement. We can simply enjoy this gift of time, this moment to pause. And then, as you're ready, we can begin just to notice any small movements wanting to happen. Maybe the fingers want to wiggle. Maybe there's little movements in the toes, in the spine, in the head and neck. Trusting the wisdom of our own bodies. Allowing breath to lead the movement. And then slowly, as you're ready, you might bring your attention to one foot. Maybe bringing both hands to your foot. Maybe looking at the foot, just noticing the color, the temperature, the shape and size of this foot, the texture of the skin, the muscles, the bones. Exploring all the ways that the foot can move. So 25% of all of the bones and joints in the body are in the ankle and foot. And our feet can move in so many different ways. Our feet are messengers to the body. The nerves go up through the feet, through the legs to the pelvis. So they can feel the ground and then send messages up through the body. So as we wake up the feet, the whole body wakes up. Just exploring the sensations in the feet and noticing if there's a way that your leg and hip want to move to allow more access to your foot. And just following this impulse, feeling the connection between the feet and the hips, the pelvis. And then you might take a moment to pause, maybe closing the eyes and noticing if your feet feel different from each other. If you've been giving attention to one foot Just noticing the sensations in that foot and feeling the other foot that hasn't been touched yet, that hasn't received attention. And then as you're ready, you can shift your focus to the other foot, just playing with the feet like a child discovering all the amazing things that their feet can do. Noticing if this foot feels different from the other one or looks different. Maybe the temperature is different. Noticing the connection with the hip. Maybe this hip feels different from the other side. And then slowly taking a moment to pause when you're satisfied with this foot exploration. Maybe bringing one hand to each foot and closing the eyes for just a moment to notice any sensations waking up. And then, if it interests you, you might transition again to standing, this time really with the focus on the feet. So, taking time to wiggle out the feet to distribute the weight of your body from one foot to the other. Noticing all these different ways that the feet can move and support us and connect with the ground. And then, if you've found your way to standing, you might take a moment to close the eyes and feel down into the feet, maybe bending the knees so that you can spread your toes, finding this wide connection with the feet. And then you might shift from side to side, maybe lifting one foot up for just a moment. And with the eyes closed, this can actually be kind of challenging. So, taking care to find balance. If you need to steady yourself with a wall, follow what feels good for you. So, seeing if we can feel the outline of the feet, feeling the curves of the feet, the soft places, the hard places, and maybe following the little foot dance. So, seeing if you can connect all the different parts of your foot to the ground, almost like a foot massage between the foot and the ground. So, shifting from the inside of the foot, noticing what happens in the leg, with the knee, with the hip, and then rolling out onto the toes. Again, feeling the alignment of the pelvis here, noticing the weight of the body, seeing if you're leaning forward or back. And again, finding that place in standing where the bones are stacked up in a way that the spine can be long, the head feels light. You can relax the belly, relax the jaw, and just take this moment to play with the feet. Exploring with the pelvis, maybe rocking the pelvis forward and back in standing, and noticing what happens in the feet. And then taking a moment to pause. If the eyes are open, you might explore closing the eyes. Maybe bringing a hand to the chest, a hand to the belly, and noticing the breath. And you might explore stretching the hands, the arms up overhead, rounding down through the feet, and just feeling the length of the body, the support of the ground, the support of the feet. And then letting that go. And slowly transitioning back to sitting. Again, feeling through the feet, noticing all the ways the feet can stretch and bend and grip. Seeing if there's any connection between the breath and the feet. And taking a moment to pause. And then slowly, as you're ready, finding your treat. You might bring the treat closer to you. Maybe bringing the treat in your hands. So we're traveling up the body from the feet up to the hands. And exploring the senses in the face. So you might open your eyes and look at what you've brought for yourself. And just taking a moment to explore. So feeling the weight of this item that you've brought, the color, the texture. You might bring it close to your face and smell. And then maybe you take just the tiniest taste, just noticing what happens inside the mouth. feeling the lips, feeling the texture of this treat on the lips, on the tongue. Noticing how far down the body you can explore these sensations. Maybe the spine changes. Maybe you can feel all the way down to the feet. Noticing what happens with the breath. And as we allow this mouth-watering item to enter the body, seeing if we can integrate this work through tasting our treat, through eating this. So allowing this to be a fun, juicy, yummy celebration of life, of ourselves, of coming together, of motherhood, of taking this time for ourselves, really letting it sink in, noticing if there's any feeling of joy or pleasure, and allowing that feeling to grow in the body. And then closing the eyes, taking a moment to pause, noticing the breath, and then coming back together.